When you work in a tattoo shop, and in my case own one, you have to deal with many, many different things. So Talen, Miki and I decided that we would talk about everything that we do, who we are, and what made us join this circus that is tattooing. At no point do we say that we are experts over and above what we do every day. We're not telling you how to think or how to believe or anything else apart from these are our stories and our truths. And when somebody tells you an actual truth about what they do and who they are, you can always tell whether it's real or not. And hopefully all of the stories in this podcast will be true. Hello, Miki. Hello, Talen.
Hello.
Hi.
I thought we'd start this show off with stories about how we started, why we're a tattooist. I'm not that I am, but why we're involved in the business of tattooing. So you can fight over who starts.
Comic. Ready for the fight.
White flag.
You white flag in. Well, I'll start then. So I got into the game about 5 years ago. It kind of started for me before that. Like, I spent a lot of time in pubs, just drawing, and I realised that I wanted to be in some sort of art background, and I saw lots of people around me with tattoos. I was like, I want to look like that, and I want a job where I can be free to express that. So,
how old are you when you're thinking, I want to look like that, I want to be this?
Like 5 or 6. Like, my dad was covered in tattoos. Like,
Right.
I was constantly drawing them on. He bought me like a little kid's tattoo machine where it had like a little pen and it
so
felt.
cool.
Oh, okay. That was worrying. I really thought you were going to say it had needles.
Yeah, thank
Right.
you.
Okay. So what's the progression from drawing in a pub, watching people go? How did you get into the door?
Someone actually asked me to draw tattoos for them as a kid, and I was like, oh, like people want my art. That's interesting. And then fast forward a good couple years through school, through college, and I started getting tattooed.
What did you study at college?
Art, thankfully.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people in this industry who've never been near an art college. Okay. So somebody asked you to draw their tattoo for them. And then how did that?
It just sparked my interest in tattoos more. It's just something I kept thinking about over and over. Like, I tattooed in my GCSE art exam. They let me bring needles and a machine in.
Oh my God.
Which, props to my fucking art teacher, because that helped me a bunch. But probably shouldn't have done that.
What, you tattooed a human being?
No, fake skin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't matter. That's great. Yeah. That's great that they were forward thinking enough as a teacher to let you do that.
Great for me, but not for the 10-hour silent art exam. Everyone else hated me.
Oh God, yeah. Tattoo machine noise for 8 hours.
Machine as well.
Oh my God.
My art
You see?
teacher wouldn't even let me do pin-ups.
No?
No. She was like, you can't do it, I'm a feminist. And I was like, I'm celebrating the female body here. Like, what are you talking about? She was like, no, can't do it.
So your art teacher limited your expression using feminism as an excuse.
Yeah.
And surely most feminists, I don't know, I can't speak for the feminist movement, but surely they would see, as you said, celebrating a female form is hardly offensive.
You'd think so, right?
If it's done from a respectful standpoint.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've gone through college, you've come out of that
Yep.
unscathed, hopefully.
Fairly unscathed.
What was the transition between college to a shop?
I did a brief little work experience at a mainly piercing shop, Metal Nettles. Nettie's a family friend, so
Okay.
it was really nice to go work there for a week. I got my first tattoo while I was there. So work experience where I got tattooed.
Perfect.
Gamed the system.
Yeah.
And then I got my second and third tattoos at the world famous Skin Sorcerer in Malden. And while I was getting tattooed, I was like, how do I get into this? This is something I want to do. And I think, not seriously, he went, come back in 6 months when you've done your college course with some drawings, expecting me to never come back.
Right.
And I came back with a big ass portfolio, like, I'm ready to work.
Okay, so the one thing I have learned about you is that you're not backwards and coming forward when you want something.
Mm-hmm.
So you wanted to come and work somewhere around here.
Yep.
So you'd seen my advert, right? So instead of applying in the normal fashion, you just turned up.
I just turned up.
Right? And thank God you did, because it's worked out so well. Right? And the coup to that, I think, okay, is that he never expected you to come back. Mm-hmm. So what happened when you did come back?
He put me straight to work with a very traditional apprenticeship.
How long did you apprentice?
Probably about a year and a half.
Okay, solid stuff. Mm-hmm. So in an apprenticeship, I'll tell you what, we'll get to that in a minute. Mm-hmm. So from apprenticeship, year and a half, then obviously you had to go through the licensing stage of it all. So did he put you through that? What was the support in your apprenticeship?
There wasn't much, to be honest. He kind of just let me get to my own devices, and I made the application.
Okay. Had he taught you?
Yes.
To things, right. Mm-hmm. So the important thing to know here is that whatever the actual reality of your situation is, then you have to be taught by somebody who is doing the job. So now you've been in the game 5 years after these things, and you've had ups and downs, people, this and that. Now you've landed here.
Yep.
So, I mean, hopefully you're happy about that. Otherwise, we're all in trouble. So what does the future now hold for you as a tattooist? So you've learned everything now, and that's where you stop, yeah?
Not at all. I'm not tattooing in that way. I don't think I'll ever be done learning. It's such a wide art form. Like, people just see it as tattooing as, oh, you can do one tattoo, you can do them all. They're all so different. It's like opening up an art book and going, I can do every style. It doesn't work. Okay, let me explain as well to the listeners that when you have two artists in a shop, the best thing they can do is have two different directions. Now, even though Miki wants to be involved in colour neo-trad stuff, at the moment she's doing fine line, and she is working her way up through what she wants to do and how she wants to do it. So the juxtaposition between the two of you gives me, as a shop owner, a plateau that I can cope with most jobs that come through the door. Mm-hmm. So that's cool. Right, Miki, how did you get involved in this?
So my whole family are really artistic. So my mum makes jewellery and has learned every single craft there is over the years. Like, my aunt does watercolour paintings, my nana does pet portraits and oil pastels and stuff like that. So I've just been surrounded by art for my entire life.
Okay.
I got a C in my GCSE art.
Okay.
So,
Jesus, I got a better grade in my art than you did.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
I can't write.
Yeah. Yeah, and I actually went to college to do drama.
Ooh.
Okay.
Realised I actually hated it a lot. So I was like, what do I enjoy doing instead of what, like, I think I enjoy doing? And I was like, oh. So I switched to Ware College to do art instead. It was, I think, art and design, officially called. And then, while I was there, I was doing a lot of my work was, like, very tattoo inspired. So drawing on people, like, everything was very tattoo-y. And I liked the idea of it, but I thought it was such a far away, like, prospect.
In what way? So, like, insurmountable, I can't get my foot in the door, kind of far away?
Because at that time, it was all the media that I saw of tattooists was LA Ink. I saw Kat Von D. I saw those types of people. And I was like, I'm never going to get there. Like,
Rockstar tattooist.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then, I can't remember who it was, but someone was like, why don't you just try? Why don't you just go to a shop and try?
Yep.
So then I started researching, and, like, everywhere on the internet says, like, bring like 30, 40 pieces of art up to a shop and just talk to them. So then it took about 8 years to do that.
Okay, this was not a quick process.
No, just like plucking up courage, and also thinking whether I had enough artwork as well, because I think some of the first things that I saw was like 150 pieces.
Damn.
So I was like,
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll just do whatever. I'll do what I can. And then, and then my friend was getting tattooed up here. by Holly. And Holly had mentioned to my friend Connor that she'd just finished her apprenticeship.
Yep.
And that you guys were looking for someone else, potentially. So I was like, cool. I sent an email initially, which got ignored.
Yeah, I did. I ignored that email.
And then I just rocked up. But I didn't bring my portfolio with me. I brought my iPad. And you were like, no. Don't bring your iPad. Just come back in a couple of weeks when Dave has time to talk to you and do some of this stuff as well. Like, you gave me some other things to draw up as well. So then I did. And then you guys were like, cool, start in January.
Okay, there were two reasons why I decided it was a good idea for Dave to take you on as an apprentice. First one was that you did actually have the balls to come up here and talk to us, right? You had a tenuous link with your friend getting tattooed here. So there's a little lesson to be learned, right? Both of you have pushed your luck, right? In a good way, in a way. If you hadn't have turned up at my door, you wouldn't be working here because I wouldn't know you exist because my world's very blinking. Exactly that. The worst thing that could have happened in that was me saying, mate, I can't do it, or it's not now. But actually, you walked it through the door in exactly the right time. You also, like, through knowledge, through somebody else, walked through the door at the right time. But what you also did is you turned around and said, okay, I can do this, apprentice, right? I can be here all the time because I have saved up enough money to be an apprentice. That's the first thing we need to talk about apprenticeship.
Yeah, you did that smart. I did not.
Yeah. Okay. If you have to have another job while you're an apprentice, which everyone has to live, right? Then, you can't be here all the time.
Nope.
Miki came in and said, look, I've had a good job. I have enough money to do this and we'll take it on, right? So therefore, your living expenses and my guilt over you're not being paid evaporated. Okay, so you were in a position to get your apprenticeship, which is fantastic. You found a way to do it and you made these things work. Obviously I wasn't there, so I don't know. The thing about all of this though is that if you want to do something and you think it's not possible, it is possible, but you have to find a way. Okay, so how long was your apprenticeship?
About 2 years.
Because COVID.
But I started January 2020, so March came around, and also because I'm a vulnerable person.
Yep.
It was like the 12th of March or something. I just went home and didn't come back for months and months and months.
Yep.
But to be honest, I didn't think it was such a bad thing because I concentrated so much more on drawing every day rather than like coming in. Obviously the setup and the cleaning process is really, really important, but like I'm fine with that. I know how it works. Like, especially at that point I was deep cleaning all the time.
Yep.
So yeah, and it gave me the opportunity as well to spend a whole day drawing rather than just like a few hours with in between doing stuff. Yeah, having people around, having people look at my shoulder, see what I'm doing and that kind of thing. It gave me way more creative freedom because I was just like, okay, I'm on my own, I'm just doing things. There is a reason why people come and look over your shoulder and put pressure on you because you've got to perform, man. When you're tattooing, there is no choking, there is no I can't do this. This is what it's about. Now, when you got licensed, right? They came up here and asked for a piece of paper, did they not? Yeah, they asked for a certificate from my apprenticeship. Right, I want to tell the world something now, okay? And I mean this with all my heart. If you pay a tattoo shop £800 to the most I've heard is £2,000, right? They will give you a 3-day course, right? Then what they will do is tell you that the piece of paper they give you entitles you to be a tattooist, right? It makes me snarl, right? Because what they're actually doing is taking people's money, providing them with fuck all, right? There is no validity. No tattoo shop in the world worth a shit will take that as anything other than you've done a 3-day course in tattooing, congratulations, you've wasted all your money. Okay, and I'm not being cruel, and I'm not saying this to be, to ridicule anyone who's done it. But I tell you this now: there's a lot of con men in the world,
Okay? And that is a con.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the reason why I am so angry about the whole thing is because these two went through hell and high water to call themselves and be licensed as a professional tattooist. If you think there's a short way of doing it, there isn't. If you think you can walk through the door of a tattoo shop and they'll just open-armedly welcome you, you can't. I started in a different way completely. I was friends with and had colleagues in a motorcycle club. And my friends owned tattoo shops. And I wanted to have a piece of that life and also love tattoos, wanted to be part of it. Now, I could draw in as much as I could copy, could not draw like you guys do. So I was then put through the rigmarole of learning how to do this, learning how to do that, learning how to clean. I had to answer the phone. I had to do all the stuff you did. I, for about a year, worked in the tattoo shop until one day I was told to get my machine and start making some fucking money, was how it was put. From that day, and luckily there were no disasters, from that day, it was very obvious that I was only ever going to be lick and stick. Now, for all you youngsters, right, in the world, and apparently that's everyone apart from me, what you used to do in a tattoo shop was walk in, point at the wall and say, I'll have a number 7. Number 7 was a bulldog with a bow, or there was an angel that had a slightly twisted face, or, you know, whatever it was, but they were set designs. And back in those days, we used to buy Flash.
Cherry Creek.
Yeah, all of those guys. So instead of drawing anything, I'd be like, yeah, we'll just trace that onto tracing paper, make a stencil, smack it on the people, and done, it's done. Really badly in some ways. My last ever tattoo that I did was done on a guy called Joe Aggio in my shop in Hertford. Yeah, he's a Hertford boy. Hello, Joe. And he came in here and had it covered up. So that's how bad I was. Right, but so what I'm saying is I went through the same rigmarole, but in a harsher environment, but an environment I desperately wanted to be a part of and be in. And so that gave me the impetus to be involved in tattoo shops. And for the last 25 years, I have owned and run successful tattoo shops. This is my 4th shop. So what used to happen was I would start a tattoo shop, I would get it running, and I would put some of my guys in there. And then I would do one or two things. I would either sell it and then move on and go on tour. That was what I used to be a musician, so I needed money. So then I would set it all up, get it running, and then move on. Because back in those days, there weren't any tattoo shops.
No.
There were not three on
high
each high street and all that. And, you know, that's a sign of the times, but that's another thing. But when I started, the one in Hertford that I had in St Andrew Street was the first shop in Hertfordshire. In Hertford itself. The only other tattoo shop was Tibbetts in Ware, and he was, you'll get what you're given, son. That's the end of that. Right, so that was fine. So basically, I realised that I was better at running tattoo shops and owning them than I was actually working in one. So when they all talk about, oh, you tattoo shop owners, you're just in it for the money, you're just this, you're just that. I've been you. I know how it works, and I've done my time in the trenches, and I don't owe anyone anything, right? So it's that simple. But what it has given me is an insight into tattooists, into how and what they need to survive and function. There's a lot of arrogant pricks in the world. There's a lot of great people in the world. And 90% of the people that I've come up with and grown through and worked with have provided me with an income, yes, but they've had the backup from me and my knowledge and my past. And also, I pay for what needs to happen. You pay in your time and get paid for it. There's something for everyone. And at any point as well, as I hope you know, if you get to the stage where you don't like something or there's something to be said, you come and say it and we look at it. That's the coup. So all three of us have gone through the same agenda, right? What do you think would happen if you went into a tattoo shop when you first started and paid £1,000 for a certificate?
I wouldn't be here.
You get laughed at.
Yeah.
Right. The important thing, though, is your knowledge is grown from experience.
Yeah. You can't learn what we learned in 2 years in 5 days.
No.
But it's not the people who go on these courses' fault.
No.
They're given such a false sense of hope by
Yeah.
these people that are like, yeah, come on this couple of day course, then you can tattoo.
Yeah.
Because we've had it where someone's come up here and been on one of those courses,
Yeah.
tried it out, and we're like, you don't know what you're
so,
doing.
so I'll give the guy his due. He came up here and he tattooed his friend, and he bought Magnum needles to do lining and all of these things. One day we will do a podcast and explain the different needles and the different depths and what happens, and we'll do that. Right? We're not going to give you all the industry secrets because there aren't any. You go on the internet, it'll tell you how to tattoo. Go to eBay and it'll get you a blooming tattoo machine. The important thing is, everyone in this room knows about cross-contamination, knows about infection rate, knows about how and why you have to be gloved. You have to do the cleaning that we do every single day. Yeah? And it's not just a chore, it's part of who we are and what we do, and it's ingrained in us. So if you're in a situation where you go and you're tattooed by somebody else, right? So you've both gone to different shops and been tattooed.
Oh
right?
yeah, I'm a tattoo whore.
A tattoo whore.
Yeah.
Excellent. So explain that.
Well, I like getting tattooed by different people because it gives me a little insight into different shops, gives me little tips and tricks. There's so much you can learn just from getting tattooed, which is one of the most important stresses. Whenever someone comes to me and talks about trying to get into tattooing, I'm like, go get tattooed. Go sit an 8-hour day and just watch them tattoo your leg.
Yep.
That's the best experience you can get other than doing it yourself.
Right. The other thing about that is if you have no relationship to the shop that you want to be an apprentice in, you're at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
Immediately.
They owe you nothing.
If you go to them and you get tattooed and you pay for a tattoo and you understand and see how they work, that's really useful to you because you can understand whether you can deal with their bullshit. Every shop has a set of bullshit, right? Every shop has someone who you might not get on with, but you might get on with all of them. It might be wonderful, but there's going to be someone that you might have to think twice about the way you speak to them. And also the person teaching you how to tattoo, that's their living.
Yeah.
And they are literally providing you with a way to make a prosperous future for yourself. And if you're good at it, you believe me, you can be prosperous.
You can take it anywhere.
Yeah.
It crosses borders. It's such a transferable job. You can take it anywhere with you.
Yeah. I have friends who work in England and then go over to America and they work in American shops. I also have a friend who works in Vegas who works for Vince Neil. And they earn fortunes in America. It's a different game, and we'll do that one day. All I really am trying to say with all of this is there are certain things that you have to do. One is you have to be able to draw these days because there is no flash, right? I don't have any flash in this shop at all, and the reason for that is bring me an image that you've looked at, bring me an image that is made up of 15 other images, bring me everything that we need to put an image together. And then if you do that, then one of the talented artists who work with me can formulate a plan and make it work. So Google is your friend. If you want any kind of tattooing, then look up what you're looking for and put 10 things together. What's the most important thing, do you think, if you're looking to become a tattooist? What's the most important first step?
I'd say find an artist. Start an artist who's hopefully in your local area that you like their work, and go badger them.
Yep.
I would say draw every day. That's what I was told when I started getting tattooed, and I was talking to her about getting into it, and she said draw every day. And it wasn't until I did draw every day during my apprenticeship that I was like, oh yeah, drawing every day works.
Yeah. You start off on a level of drawing ability, and you can be the best dog portrait drawer, or the best watercolor artist, or the best architectural drawing specialist, right? Let me tell you that, it doesn't mean shit. Because every single tattoo is a tattooable image, okay? It's not drawn with hatching and shading with a pencil. It's done with needles in skin, and you have one shot at it. There are no rubbers. Yeah, you can't, or erasers, as Americans say. there is no rubbing out. Nope. There's a laser machine, but only if it's in the right colour, and that's nothing to lean on. So you have to draw every day. You have to get involved with everything that works, because if you don't know all of that, how can you be expected to draw once on a human being and be successful?
I mean, whether you want to draw every day or not, if you do want to be a tattooist, you're going to draw every day when you start working.
Yeah.
So you need to get used to it.
Yeah, that's your life, right?
Yeah.
So when somebody comes in with a job, it's a question for both of you. So what's your process? They come at you with a picture. If it's, I want this, then that's great. What happens when somebody says, I want this with this and this and this? How does it work?
Try and pick out the main key elements, figure out size, placement, like what sort of style they're gravitating towards. Like, I guess if they came in here, we'd try and work out who's taking it.
Yeah.
Or whose style it fits the most.
Yeah. It's important for people to understand that if they want to be a tattooist, they have to do 3 things. One is be able to tattoo, right? Put that on the side. Secondly, they have to understand what the customer is saying to them.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing. And everyone goes on about my want for customer service. And I want everyone to walk into my shop, maybe, a bit uncertain, a bit what's going on. But as soon as they come through that door, somebody says hello. Somebody probably offers them a cup of coffee. And then somebody sits down and talks to them about what they want to get.
And actually listens.
Yeah.
As well, because it's easy to kind of hear a bunch of stuff and then draw what you want to draw.
Yeah, like my customer earlier, he was saying he didn't go back to the last shop he went to because he said he literally asked for, I think it was a raven and an orb.
No, he wanted a raven with a blindfold.
Oh, blindfold.
Which was off a t-shirt.
Yeah, he wanted this specific band t-shirt, and they took the blindfold off.
And then stuck it on a skull.
Yeah.
So, right.
Oh, a raven on a skull. Cool.
Well, I've got a raven on a skull, right? But I asked for that.
Yeah.
You see, when those customers come to you, they trust you implicitly.
Yeah.
And they will always say these magic words. You're the artist, I trust you. Don't fucking trust anybody, right? First and foremost, right, I would hope that somebody who wanted to be tattooed and had never been here before would look at our website, look at our social media. Right, everyone asks me, why do you always stick the dailies up all day, every day? There are 2 reasons. One, because I want to show everyone the wonderful things that you do, both of you. And secondly, I want everyone to understand that this is a busy, working tattoo shop. We're not sitting on our laurels going, one day in 1986 I did a full back piece skull and that means I can do anything. No, that means you're a dick and you have no relevant experience. You two do different things, vastly different things every single day from the day before. And what's important to know is that all the customers out there who are watching, even the silent people who never talk to us, know that you can do what we say you can do. That's the most important thing. So when you wanted to be a tattooist, right, and you wanted to do that, what was the driving force? Do you take everything else away? What's the driving force behind you?
I wanted to be tattooed. I wanted to have neck, hand tattoos without looking like an idiot.
Right.
Honestly, I just wanted to be really heavily covered, and I didn't think there was any other place for me.
So because of your want of coverage, you would be at home in a tattoo shop?
Yeah.
Because we're all covered. Well, you're pretty covered. You'll get there. Right. So what was the driving force behind you?
I just wanted to do art every day. Just wanted to, like, when I was in college, I was like, I want this to be my career. I want to draw every day. Okay.
So from a fundamental want or need, you turned that round and made it into your career. So for all the people who say, oh, I can't be a tattooist, I can't do this, I can't do that, I guarantee, and have 2 people in front of me, 3 if you look at me too, I mean, I'm where I want to be. You can do it. You can make it happen. And the way you by making it happen is tenacity, but also understand what you've got to do. Okay, I'll tell you what I want. I'm a shop owner. I have relevant experience, right? I don't want you to hassle me. I don't want you to tell me how fucking great you are at everything, right? Because I'll be the judge of that. I also don't want you to just send me an email going, hi, yeah, I'm this and I've done that, right? What I want you to do is send me 8 pictures. That's all. I don't want 150. I don't want 50 because I won't look at them, right? I want 8 pictures of 8 different things and difficult things. Horses, right? Horses are a nightmare, right? Hands, yeah? Human faces, okay? Different expressions on different things. I want the hard stuff. I don't want to see a koi carp. I don't want to see a heart. I don't want to see a raven on a skull because you'll have to draw that anyway, right? Show me that you're something different. You don't have to be the best drawer on the planet, but you have to understand tattooable images, yeah? And also that I see 15 to 20 people wanting to be a tattooist, yeah, every 3 or 4 months. So you need to show me not that you're the best at this and the best at that. Somebody who's adaptable, can make things happen for themselves and find a way into the business themselves. And if that is coming to the shop and getting tattooed and talking to me, that's the way to do it. What advice have you got for people who want in?
I think you have to be so keen. Like, once you start working, tattooing is your life. Like, you come to work, you tattoo all day. You go home, you eat your dinner, and you draw for the next day.
You talk to people about tattoos.
Yeah,
you literally don't do anything other than tattooing.
Yeah.
It's such an all-encompassing job.
Yeah.
It's not a job.
It's a life. Like, so you have to be kind of prepared for that. Like,
My mentor, Mark Newton, he stressed that so much. Like, there'd be times where I'd be like drawing or like getting like not lazy, but like not huffing and puffing either, just like slowly sweeping instead of like properly putting effort into it. And he was like, look, do you want to do this? You're doing it for life. There's no if in, no button. Just get on and do it. Like, put your all into everything.
Right. Let's address that specifically. Why do tattooists who take on apprentices make them clean and do nothing else for the first 2 months? Why do they do that?
To show your drive.
it's so important that the shop is clean. Like, you need to, before you go near any person with a needle, you need to have it drilled into your mind that cleanliness is the most important thing.
And there's a way. I talked about cross-contamination earlier, right? What's that?
It's where you get a contaminated sauce and you touch something else with it.
Right. Chicken is the best thing, right? You hold a chicken breast in this hand, yeah, and then you then go and put that hand on a doorknob, right? Then all the bacteria that causes the illness that I've remembered, salmonella, thanks very much, blank spot in my brain. So that salmonella is all over that door. Somebody else touches it, it's all over the whole place, right? So from one person, a whole outbreak of salmonella happens, right? That's the easiest way to look at it. The reason that you're made to clean a shop is not so you can show me that you can clean stuff or tell me, why do I have to do that, right? Which I've heard 1,000 fucking times, right? The reason you've got to do that is if you understand cleanliness and you understand how things are cleaned in a certain way, after a while it becomes second nature.
Yeah.
And after a while, it makes you the person you need to be to step forward. So when you go in and go, I don't need to clean nothing, I know how to do that, I'll tell you this now, you're not the right person for the trade. Secondly, if you decide, to do this tattooing, you're going to get 3 months in, realise you've only ever picked up a pencil and you're going to get pissy about it. Don't. You're in the long haul. Your apprenticeship should take anywhere between a year and 2 years, right? It takes a year if you completely adapt, completely absorb, and are completely au fait with everything, unless, of course, COVID kicks in, and then you get kicked in the nuts, right? But, so understand this. The reality of it all is you have to be totally immersed in that life. And what happens if you half-ass it?
You don't get anywhere.
Exactly.
You even if you get to the end of your apprenticeship and someone trusts you to put a tattoo on their skin, no one else is. If you don't care enough then why should anyone care enough to come to you for your work?
Yep. I think to end, I think we should just suggest something each that you should look for when you go into a shop that's a good sign, something that shows that you're in the right place. So what do you think that is?
From a customer perspective.
Customer perspective.
Cleanliness, friendliness. If you feel like you're being listened to.
That's the key, yeah. Talen?
I'd say more with like social media, like looking for healed work or repeat customers. You notice when there's a tattoo that's appearing on someone's arm and then they've got 6 more on that same arm.
Yeah.
They want to go back for a reason.
Yeah. We are so lucky. We have repeat customers. We had it today with Alice. Your tattooist today came from flipping Bridport to drive all the way up here to our shop. Nothing to do with me, everything to do with Talen. They'd had a conversation. He decided you were the right guy.
Weirdly enough, I met him on Reddit 2 years ago.
On Reddit?
On Reddit. Just, he put a post up about an anime tattoo, and I popped up to him, and then he started following me past couple of years.
So from that conversation, that's really cool. That shows the level of detail some customers have. There are some customers who walk in and go, I don't give a shit, I want this now. And then you do it because that's what they want. What he wanted was something very specific from you.
Yep.
And he travelled 3.5 hours to get here. And was a lovely bloke too. He was happy that he came here. And he even commented on the fact that we were all friendly, which is beautiful because that's where it wants to be. Okay, look, we're going to do this podcast once a month, whether you listen or not, because it's therapy for us.
So get used to our beautiful voices.
Yeah. So look, if you want to hear anything about the tattoo industry, if you want to hear a truth, and I'm not going to lie about anything, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. So if you want to learn about anything to do with the tattoo industry that we have knowledge of, if I don't know what you've asked about, I'm not going to touch it. I'm sure that one of you two will fill in any knowledge that I don't have, right?
Yeah, we probably got it.
Okay. So we are calling this podcast Eye of the Needle. Are we not?
Yes.
We are.
So thanks to Brooke, who is your boyfriend, right, who suggested that. Now, if everyone's going, what, are you a sewing podcast? Right? In the olden days, right, before cartridges, there used to be a thing called needle bars, which has an eye in one end and needles on the other. And that imagery, which you will see, has been worked up with Miki.
Wow.
I just called Miki. That's really funny. Right, so that's been worked up by Miki and Talen and George, her son, who is behind the camera, who has produced today's show. So thank you very much for that, George. We're going to do this once a month. It will be on Spotify and it will probably be on YouTube and other places too, anywhere you listen to podcasts. So listen, thanks for listening. If you want to be involved in any way, i.e. giving in ideas, sending in stuff, whatever you want to do, email us at studio@madhousetattoo.co.uk.